Hey guys, welcome to Life with the Nellies. I wanted to jump on here and go through our Riverside resort review. We just recently got back from Disney World. I don't know if you guys saw the video of Cash and I where we talked about our Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios Day, but we did enjoy that a lot. We also wanted to give a review of the resort that we stayed at. We are currently on a mission to stay at every resort in Disney World, so we are probably about halfway through, but we decided that we're going to start giving reviews and honest feedback on the resorts and the good and the bad on what we enjoyed about them and what we would prefer from other resorts. So this is our overall review of our travel days and our resort review. So we like to travel early in the morning and late at night. So I generally will try to book a flight early in the morning, so one of the first flights out. And then on our return home, I will generally try to book a later in the day flight. I don't really want to get up on my last day at Disney World and race to the airport and hope that I got everything. I like to just be able to wake up on our own time and pack our bags and kind of get relaxed into the day and, explore a little bit of the area and then head to the airport. So on day one, we arrived on Sunday. We took the first flight out, which is like 5:30 in the morning, super early in the morning. But thankfully, the airport's not too far from our house, so we were able to hop on the first flight out. We got to Orlando about 8:30 in the morning. Picked up our rental car, and then we went straight over to Riverside to check in. We decided to go straight over to Riverside to check in because we wanted to go do some shopping, but the shops weren't open yet because it was Sunday. And so we hopped over to Riverside. We went and checked in to our resort. Of course, our room wasn't ready. It was still 9 o'clock in the morning. We wouldn't have expected it to be ready. Sometimes you get lucky and the room is ready, but because it's spring break, very busy time of the year, we weren't anticipating the room to be ready. So we checked in. We got all of our stuff loaded with the bellhops, and we walked around the resort for a little bit. And then we went back and we got into the rental car, and we went over to the Character Warehouse store, which is at the outlet mall, not too far from the resort. The reason we like to go to the Character Warehouse store is because they sell things that were once in the parks for much cheaper than they are in the parks. So, for example, we were buying pens. Cash really enjoys pen trading in the parks. He really likes, he really does like pen trading. And so what we will often do is go to the warehouse store and we will buy the pens that are at the reduced price so that he can just pen trade around the parks for a couple of days. So we'll pick a day where maybe we're going to hop from park to park, or we're going to, have kind of a relaxing park day, meaning that we're not going to be going 100 miles an hour. And on those days, we'll bring the pens with us and he can pen trade on those days. So I usually will buy about 4 to 5 pens at a reduced price. So they're anywhere between $3 to $4. I've seen some as high as $5 there, but it's a great place to buy authentic Disney pens. So you're not trading the scrapper pens or the faked pens, but you're trading real authentic Disney pens, and you're doing so at a reduced price. Because let me tell you, I appreciate the pen trading. I think it's a really cool thing to do. But if I bought a pen for $25, I certainly am not trading it for a pen that was like $5. So I'm going to make sure that the pens that we're trading are pens that are not of super high value. And that's where the Character Warehouse comes into play. So we went to the Character Warehouse. We did some shopping. We bought a few things. We don't buy a bunch of stuff because, we've been to Disney so many times that now there's not a need to have a ton of Disney merch when we go. But we do like to buy pens and things that are of memory or will create a memory for us. So we bought some things. We went back to the resort. Our room still wasn't ready. So we walked around a little bit, and once we walked around for a bit, then our room was ready. And we called for bell services to bring our bags to our room. We drove our rental car over to where we could park our car close to our building, and then we waited for our luggage to arrive to our room. So let me tell you a little bit about Riverside. Riverside is a very large resort. Large resort. So there's a lot of walking around the resort. So you could be in the lobby having breakfast, having lunch, having a snack, whatever, and you may have to walk half a mile to a mile back to your room, depending on where your room is located. We were in the Acadian house, which was quite a distance from the lobby. It wasn't as far as some other people's walk was, but it was pretty far considering that we were doing 20 and 30,000 steps during the day at the parks. So on Sunday, it wasn't too bad. We walked from our room around the lagoon, around the little island that they have in the center, through the food court area, and we got on the boat to Disney Springs, and it was a nice little leisurely stroll. On Monday, when we got back from the parks, and we had already done 30,000 steps, it was a little bit of a torture as we had to walk from the bus stop to our room, which was quite a bit of distance. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the Riverside is not like the French Quarter side where you're very small and intimate. We've stayed at the French Quarter side several times, and one of the things we really appreciate about it is you get off at the bus stop. It's one bus stop, and you're within a quarter mile at most to your room. It's really nice and small, compact, but Riverside is quite a bit different from that. There's several buildings spanned throughout the property, and each of the buildings have, multiple floors. There's no elevators. So if you have your luggage, you're hauling your luggage up and down, just kind of all the things you have to think about. So anyways, our luggage arrived to our room, and we did a tour of our room. I have some video of that I'll show you guys. It was a nice standard room, very similar to what you would experience at French Quarter or even at the Caribbean beach resort. If you were staying in a moderate resort, you would probably have the same kind of room. But it was a really good room for the two of us. We had a nice corner view, so we had a pool view and a river view on one side. So that was really a nice, enjoyable experience. Once our bags arrived, we decided to head over to Disney Springs and spend the evening there. We were planning on bowling that day, so we went bowling. When we got there, we arrived at the boats at Disney Springs, and they told us that the boats were no longer going to be running because of the wind. And so our way back to the resort was going to be through bus. So that was different because the transportation for Disney Springs for both French Quarter and Riverside is generally only going to be the boats. So we had to figure out where to pick up the bus and all of that kind of stuff at the end of the day. When we arrived to Disney Springs, we went bowling, which was a really fun experience. Cash and I neither one of us had been bowling at Disney before, so that was really fun. We wound up doing about 4 rounds of bowling, and then we had dinner there. So we ordered food. We were able to eat while we were playing. I had their surf and turf sushi, which is fantastic. If you've never been to Splitsville, you should definitely try their surf and turf sushi. I'm not a big raw seafood kind of person with my sushi, but I do like when I have tempura shrimp or surf and turf style. That was really enjoyable. And then, of course, Cash had chicken tenders and French fries.
They're always my favorite, and I'll do it again.
He always enjoys finding the chicken tenders and French fries. Anywhere we go, he likes to compare and decide who has the better French fries, who has the better chicken tenders. So we did that experience, and while it's a little pricey, it was worth it for his birthday trip. I don't know that I would do it every single time. It was about $75 for us to go bowling. But again, like I said, it was his birthday trip. It was well worth the experience. Just a thing to note that you are sharing the space with other people. So you may be right next to each other, right next to other groups. where y'all are going to have to share the same bowling ball sections. And that got a little weird because the people next to us were taking, or not taking, but they were using the balls that we were using originally. So when they arrived, they just started taking our balls and using those. And for me, the whole germs of like, they're touching it, we're touching it, there's a lot of people around. I got a little eerie on that one. But they do have Germex close by, so that was nice. We could, sanitize our hands quite frequently, and then we could enjoy the rest of the experience. So after Disney Springs, after we went bowling, we went and did some shopping. So we went around and went and looked at some pens. We went and bought a couple of things that were specific to Disney Springs that we knew we couldn't get anywhere else. Cash wanted to get his name artistically drawn in characters. So there's a place at the artist corner where you can have your name designed and drawn out in different characters depending on what you decide. So Cash decided to go ahead and get his name done. So he got the Fantastic Five, but in this case 4 because there's only 4 letters. So he got the Mickey, the Donald, the Pluto, and the Goofy. And the artist drew this out, asked us what kind of design we wanted, if we wanted it to be framed, and then they took care of it while we went and did some shopping. So this was really a really cool experience. The actual artwork was $45. The frame was another $25 after taxes and everything. I think it came out to about $74. While it can be a little pricey if it's a one-time trip or a birthday kind of celebration, it definitely was worth it.
It was worth it because I can put it next to a plant, and I like plants, and it's worth having it in the living room.
Yep. So Cash has it displayed in our living room by one of the plants that he has in the house, and so it's just a great little memory for him to have. Each time we go, he likes to get a piece of artwork. He really enjoys the art that they have at Disney Springs, specifically at the art store. So it was a really fun experience to go and watch and have them draw that out. So we did a little bit more shopping, not a lot, but we did a little bit more shopping, and then we had to go find the bus to get back to the resort. So here's the kicker. Because the buses don't normally run to French Quarter and Riverside, there were no buses to be found for Riverside or French Quarter because generally you get on a boat to those places. You don't have to get on a bus. So we waited and watched about 4 or 5 buses for each resort come through before we could actually get a boat for our resort. I tried doing a Lyft, a minivan. To no luck, they kept canceling because they had so many people trying to get Lyft minivans to the resorts. So just got to be mindful that if for some reason transportation does change, that your transportation back to your resort could potentially be delayed or could be a longer wait than you would expect. Once we got back to the resort, we got ourselves situated for the evening, made sure that we had plenty of water, made sure that we had plenty of snacks for the next day. And then we decided to call it a night so that we could enjoy the parks the next morning. We were planning on rope dropping Magic Kingdom, so we needed to get our rest and enjoy. So fast forward to Monday, Tuesday, we were in the parks. Wednesday was our day to leave. It was our last day. It was a travel day, and our flight did not leave until 8 o'clock that night. So we did take advantage of that and slept in, which is something that we don't often get to do, but we did sleep in until about 8:30 that morning. We got ready. We took our showers. We got situated for the day. We made sure all of our stuff was packed and that we had our luggage arranged appropriately so that nothing was going to get harmed. We put all of our stuff in the car, and then we opted to take a boat ride over to Disney Springs. We did not go shopping at Disney Springs, nor did we go into Disney Springs. We just got on the boat. We rode over there. We got off the boat. We got back in line and rode back. Just a point to note that the boats to Disney Springs are not rides. They are meant to be transportation. So the captains will yell at you and tell you that you have to get off if you try to stay on.
He also yelled at four people in the back row because they wouldn't get off. They just sat on there and did not get off. But we didn't know that, and I was gonna ask if we could stay on, but I didn't want to ask because I didn't know if it was like bad or not to stay on. So we just got on, went around, went to the flag that says Riverside and got on, and surprisingly we got on the same boat.
Yeah, so we were able to get back on the same boat, but we were trying to be respectful of the fact that, you know, we know that the boats are not a ride, they are transportation. And if somebody else was trying to get back to the resort, that we needed to give them that opportunity to get back first before we took their spot. So we were able to just hop back on the same boat, and we rode back over to the Riverside, and we did some, you know, walking around, some sightseeing at the Riverside Resort. They have a really cool pool area there. They have a place where you can go fishing. You can ride the pedal bikes. There's just a lot of different things that you can do during the day. You'll have to excuse the dog who decided to come in. You can't see him, but he is sitting next to me, rocking in the chair. So we did get to enjoy quite a few of the amenities that the resort has to offer. Once we were done with Riverside, we got in the rental car and we drove over to French Quarter, which is on the same property. So you can actually walk from Riverside to the French Quarter. You can take the boat over to French Quarter, or you can walk, you can bus, or you can drive if you have a rental car over to French Quarter. It's all in the same property, so there's no going in and out of different gates, security gates or anything. So we drove over to French Quarter. We took a little ride over there. We went and walked around. We went and made a wish in the fountain as we entered. We grabbed a bite to eat, and we made sure that we had a snack, and we, you know, just kind of relaxed there until later on in the day. So we had reservations that night at 4 o'clock for 1900 Park Fair. So our plan was, after French Quarter, was to go over to the Grand Floridian, walk around, see the Easter eggs, and see the decorations that they had out for Easter, and then have dinner at 1900 Park Fair. So about 2 o'clock, we were kind of wrapping up our time at French Quarter, and we decided to go ahead and go over to the Grand Floridian. When we got to the Grand Floridian, they gave us directions where to park for our time. Now, thing to note, that if you're not a guest at the Grand Floridian, you have to have a dinner reservation in order to be able to get on property. So you'll get a little plaque, a little piece of paper that tells you you've got 3 hours to stay at the property parking for the visitor parking. So we got this little piece of paper. We had 3 hours. We got there around about 2:30 or so, and we had until essentially 5:30, 6 o'clock to be able to stay and enjoy the resort itself. So when we got there, we were able to walk around the lobby. We were able to sit and listen to some music. The piano player was out playing some wonderful Disney music, which was fantastic. Always very, very enjoyable, relaxing, something to really, you know, sit and have a peaceful moment in Disney. It can be really challenging because there's so much chaos going on, but to find those moments of peace and tranquility within the parks or within the properties, within the Disney bubble, is always really fun. We walked around and saw all the Easter eggs. So the Easter eggs are little chocolate eggs that have been carved by cast members and have been put on display. They have quite a few really cool designs, and I'll show you guys some videos of that as well. But you know, they have some really, really intricate designs. We had one where it was 101 Dalmatians. You could look in and you could see the family view. You could see the dogs on the outside. Beauty and the Beast spun around. You could see the rose. You could see Belle and the Beast. And it was just a really, really cool, intricate designs. After that, we went to our dinner reservation at 4 o'clock at 1900 Park Fair. And I will tell you, we're not typically a 4 o'clock dinner kind of people. We generally do lunch at 11, dinner at 6 kind of family. But we did dinner at 4 o'clock this time. And I am now a fan of having dinner for the first opening of the buffet. So 1900 Park Fair is a buffet. It's a character meal where you're going to get to meet Cinderella, Mirabelle, Tiana, and Aladdin. And you're going to get to have a buffet of a variety of food. And the reason I say I'm a fan of the opening is because nothing had been touched, nothing had been moved around. The ladles and the spoons and all of the things were still like in pristine, like just set down kind of service. And so it was nice to feel like, wow, I get to have the first choice and first selection of everything here. The food was fantastic. The food is always fantastic each time we go there. They have a carving station of prime rib and turkey. They have meatballs and chicken tenders and pizza for the littles with pasta. They have macaroni and cheese. They have a different kind of pasta for the adults. They have salads, a wide variety of desserts. We have some video of that we'll drop in as well. But I will say that, like all things, there's good and bad. So we had really good food. Service was okay. Service was a little bit slower than I would have liked. We had to constantly ask for refills in our waters. And, when I asked for the check, it took a while to get the check. I had to actually ask somebody else to find our server to get the check so that we could go. But that was probably just me and my nervous energy of knowing that I had a flight to catch and I had to drive from the Grand to the airport and make sure that there was no traffic delays or any of that kind of stuff. So it was still a great experience. We will still go back. It is definitely on our list of restaurants that we really enjoy and that we will experience again in the future. So once we left the Grand, we were finished with 1900 Park Fair. We left the Grand. We headed back to the airport to wrap up our day, turn in our rental car, and head back. So 2 very busy days of non-park days, just in different ways. We did some shopping, we did some sightseeing, we did some resort tours. We were able to go and look around at the French Quarter, the Riverside, and then, of course, the Grand Floridian at the end. So all in all, we had a really fabulous time on our trip. And we look forward to doing some more reviews with you in the future. Y'all have a great day. Bye.